Okay, imagine this for a second. You're looking out over the Yucatán Peninsula. Vast, dense tropical forests, right? Mostly untouched, seemingly, for like 1,000 years. But under that green canopy, secrets have just been waiting. And, well, get this, a brand new study just peeled back that canopy.
And found something pretty astonishing about the classic Maya.
Absolutely. It's incredible, isn't it, how this tech is just rewriting what we thought we knew.
It really is.
Yeah.
So this deep dive, it's all about this new research using airborne lidar.
Right, light detection and ranging.
Exactly. And it's giving us this radically updated picture of, well, everything. Population, how they settled, their whole social structure.
So our mission today is really to get our heads around how huge, how interconnected the civilization actually was. It challenges so many long-held ideas.
Decades-old assumptions, really.
Yeah. We're digging into a big paper from the Journal of Archaeological Science, reports, plus some related work from Tulane University archaeologists.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
Let's start with the big one, the population bombshell. This is going to make you rethink things.
Okay, I'm ready.
Get this. The classic Maya lowlands. They might have supported somewhere between 9.5 and 16 million people.
Wow. 16 million.
16 million during the late classic period, so roughly 600 to 900 CE.
That's just staggering. I mean, put that into perspective for us.
Well, previous big LiDAR studies, they were estimating maybe 7 to 11 million.
Okay, so still huge numbers, but this new estimate is.
It's a massive leap. The lead author, Francisco Estrada-Belli, he even said he was surprised, called it a 45% jump.
A 45% jump. Wow. That's not just tweaking the numbers. That's a fundamental shift.
Totally. It's like finding out a major modern city was almost double the size everyone thought. It just redraws the mental map.
And where are we talking about geographically, this massive population?
We're talking a huge area, 95,000 square kilometers, the Central Maya Lowlands.
So that covers parts of Guatemala, southern Mexico?
Yep, Campeche, Quintana Roo, and western Belize, too. A really sprawling region.
And that density figure you mentioned earlier, 180 to 305 people per upland square kilometer. Why is that specific figure so important?
Well, think about it. Achieving that density in a tropical forest environment, it's pretty remarkable, isn't it?
It absolutely is. It really challenges comparisons, like with compact old world cities or even cities in highland Mexico.
Exactly. This wasn't like Rome or Teotihuacan. It was different. This low-density urbanism. Homes and farms all woven together.
A unique model we're only now starting to truly appreciate the scale of.
So how on earth did they figure all this out? Underneath all that jungle?
Right. That's where the lidar comes in, this airborne lidar.
The archaeological X-ray vision you mentioned?
Pretty much. It sends down laser pulses, and they actually penetrate the canopy, bounce off the ground.
And map everything. Structures, earthworks, things you just can't see from the ground.
Exactly. Stuff that's been completely hidden. It just blows away the limitations of old school ground surveys.
Which must have been incredibly slow and difficult in that terrain.
Oh, incredibly. Dense vegetation, hard to access. Getting a regional picture was almost impossible before LiDAR. It's a game changer.
Okay, but this study did something even smarter, right? They didn't just do new scans.
Right. This is key. They took all the available LiDAR data, public scans, private ones, even environmental lidar from NASA.
NASA data.
Yeah. And they combined it, reprocessed it all using consistent methods.
Why was that so important?
Well, it gave them a much bigger, more comprehensive data set. And crucially, it helped correct for what they called a southern data bias.
Meaning previous studies maybe focused too much on the southern areas.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the data available was skewed that way. This new approach gave a more balanced, unbiased view across the whole central lowlands.
So more data, cleaned up, processed the same way. How did they get population numbers from that?
Meticulously. They defined specific regions, north and south, and then they basically counted individual structures larger than 30 square meters.
Treating each one as like a single family unit?
Essentially, yes, a proxy for a household. By counting these structures across this huge standardized data set, they could build up those population estimates with much greater confidence.
Okay, so they've got the tech, the data, the numbers.
Yeah.
What did this reveal about how Maya cities and settlements were actually organized? This is where it gets really interesting, right?
Absolutely, because it tackles this long-held idea, this sort of myth about the northern Central Maya Lowlands.
The idea that the North was mostly rural, just scattered villages.
Exactly, that was the prevailing thought. But this LiDAR data, it just doesn't support that at all.
What did it show instead?
What's really striking is the consistency. All the data sets, north and south, showed remarkably similar proportions of urban zones versus more dispersed settlement zones.
So not a rural north and an urban south, but a similar pattern everywhere.
Pretty much, yeah. It completely flips that old narrative.
Which speaks to that idea of low-density urbanism again, doesn't it?
It refines it. It shows this model continuous semi-urban settlements mixed with farmland wasn't just a southern thing. It was more widespread, more populous, and actually more efficiently structured than we realized across the whole region.
Structured how? Is there a pattern?
Yes. The study points to what they call a uniform model for spatial organization, meaning a consistent blueprint for how settlements were laid out, whether you were in a dense urban area or a more spread out rural zone. The same basic rules applied everywhere in the classic period Central Lowlands.
And what was the core element of this uniform model?
Raised plaza platforms. Think of them as community hubs.
Like town squares almost, but elevated.
Kind of, yeah. They ranged hugely in size, from major ceremonial centers, the big pyramids and plazas we often picture, down to much smaller local group platforms.
And these weren't isolated points on the map?
No, not at all. They formed what the researchers call nested clusters. So smaller plazas grouped around medium ones, which clustered near the big centers. This pattern appeared in both the denser and the more dispersed areas.
Nested clusters, like ripples in a pond almost.
That's a good way to think about it. And the interconnectedness this implies is just, well, it's profound.
How so?
Get this. Nearly all the houses they mapped, over 96% in the south, still a huge 77–88% in the north, were within 5 kilometers of a large or medium-sized plaza group.
5 kilometers? That's easily walkable, right?
Absolutely, maybe an hour's walk. It completely demolishes the idea of isolated rural farmers cut off from the centers. Everyone was connected to this network.
Wow. A deeply integrated civilization.
Extremely.
Okay, so if you have potentially 16 million people all interconnected, how did they feed everyone? That's always the big question with the Maya.
Right. And the study found really clear links between where people lived and where the farming infrastructure was.
Like terraces, dams, field walls.
Exactly. Those kinds of features. They found a close spatial association. So where settlement density was higher, like in the north, there were also more extensive agricultural investments.
Makes sense. More mouths to feed, more intensive farming needed.
And it looks like the areas around the denser urban zones, the peri-urban and rural areas, were really crucial for producing surplus food.
Supporting the city dwellers.
Precisely. It suggests a very sophisticated, integrated system for managing resources and food production.
Now, you mentioned something fascinating earlier. The elite might have been involved in overseeing farming, not just ruling from temples.
Yeah, this is a really cool detail. They looked at where elite houses were located. Remember, bigger houses near the plaza groups.
Right.
Well, their distribution across all the density zones, urban and rural, suggests they weren't detached. They might have had a direct hand in managing agriculture.
Really? How could they tell?
It seems there was a difference based on rank. The top elite, the biggest centers, maybe less direct oversight. Their houses didn't strongly correlate with nearby farming features.
Okay.
But the lower-ranking elite, the ones associated with the medium-sized plaza groups, their residences showed a much stronger connection. Like 50 to 100% of agricultural features were within just 1.5 kilometers of these medium plazas.
Suggesting a more hands-on management role for these local leaders.
That's the interpretation, yeah. Direct oversight of local production.
And farming wasn't just happening way out in the countryside. Right?
No, that's another key point of low-density urbanism. Fields were mixed in with structures, even in the denser urban cores, sometimes right near the elite groups.
So it wasn't just about fertile land dictating where people lived.
Probably not the main driver. The clustering around these elite plazas seems much more driven by socioeconomic factors, access to markets, administration, social networks.
Okay, let's talk about that. Daily life and the influence of the elite. House size was a marker for wealth.
Yeah, they used it as a proxy for status. And unsurprisingly, the bigger houses, the ones suggesting more wealth, were overwhelmingly found in or very near those large and medium plaza groups.
So the elite really lived in these organized centers.
It certainly looks that way, primarily within these formal settings, not off in isolated villas or something.
And because most regular houses were also close to these plazas.
It meant the general population had pretty easy access, didn't they? Access to public spaces, maybe administrative services, and, crucially, markets.
Ah, marketplaces. So the plazas weren't just for ceremonies.
Likely not just ceremonies. The thinking is they probably functioned as a network of marketplaces. operating at different scales, big regional markets at the major centers, smaller local ones at the medium plazas. This exchange network seems fundamental to Maya urban life.
Which reinforces that idea. Again, no real isolation.
Exactly. This study basically extends that model of interconnectedness across the entire settled landscape. No village, no farmstead was truly operating independently. They were all plugged into this larger network managed by the elite, centered on these plaza nodes for administration and exchange.
It's a completely different picture, isn't it?
A fundamentally different picture.
So let's just recap this incredible deep dive. We've seen this ancient Maya civilization as far more widespread, more complexly structured.
More integrated and much more uniform across that vast area than we ever recognized before.
Right. And this high degree of interconnectedness, all those sites and regions linked together, that probably helped them, right? Like buffer against local problems, maybe food shortages.
You'd think so. A more resilient system in some ways, better able to share resources or mitigate local disasters. That seems likely.
That's always a but, isn't there?
There often is. And the researchers raise this really interesting paradox at the end.
Okay.
While this highly structured, efficient, interconnected system looks strong, could the sheer scale of it, the level of interconnectedness, have actually created different kinds of vulnerability?
How so? Vulnerable in what way?
Well, think about large-scale climate change or major economic disruptions. Could a system that's so tightly interwoven be, paradoxically, more susceptible to shocks that affect the whole network?
Like a domino effect. If one part suffers, it ripples through the entire highly connected system much faster.
Potentially. It's a provocative thought, isn't it? Does this incredible picture of integration and organization actually give us new clues about the eventual classic Maya collapse?
Wow. That really makes you think about complexity and fragility, doesn't it, in any society?
It does. And just one final thought. The impact of this research goes way beyond the Maya.
How do you mean?
Well, by showing how you can combine and reuse existing lidar data, even freely available stuff like NASA's. It provides a kind of blueprint.
For archaeologists working anywhere in the world.
Exactly. Discovering hidden histories, gaining new insights, potentially without needing expensive new flights, it opens up a lot of possibilities.
So it seems the jungle and maybe other landscapes too still hold plenty of secrets.
They certainly do. But now we have some incredibly powerful tools and smarter ways to use them to help uncover them.